Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk. Today's episode is very important because a lot of times you come up on things on the trap line and you don't really know how to respond. And so, over years of experience, I've developed a system that has helped me tremendously. So, for today's example, we're going to pretend um, that there's a catch circle and you have no trap and no animal there, or that there's an empty trap and a catch circle and you're rolling up on it, okay? So I made an imitation catch circle here off the side. So let's say we're rolling up. There's our little imitation catch circle over here. All right. And then so you roll up and there's a catch circle and there's no animal, no trap. The first thing that that I always wanted to do, especially when I was younger or newer to trapping, um, is you want to go check it out, right? That's the very first thing you want to do is, hey, what's going on here? Okay, that is not what I recommend doing, okay? And I'll tell you why. I'll go ahead and give you the second example. You pull up, you got an empty trap there and a catch circle. Same thing. You want to jump out of the vehicle, even if it's in a field or a ditch or whatever, you want to go check it out. Again, I do not recommend doing that. Couple reasons. There's several situations that could have happened here. All right, so when you roll up, first thing I try to think is I don't want to track my feet everywhere, right? Because you could have either had a theft that occurred, or you could have had an animal that got out of a trap, or you could have had the trap that had the stake pumped out. Okay, so first thing I like to do, I like to make sure I'm armed, right? I have a firearm with me. An example of that would be a few years back, I rolled up, my 220 was gone. There was a catch circle where my 220 was, the chain had broke, and it was a solid 220, and luckily I had this exact pistol on me at that time. I get out of the truck, I'm looking at what's going on, and I kind of walk down the road a little bit, just kind of checking things out, and a red fox pops out of the ditch with a 220 on him, and I pulled my pistol and shot him dead right there. Okay, so that, if I wouldn't have been prepared for that situation, he could have ran off and I would have had another situation where I would have had to ask to track him down on private property. Okay, so that's one example. Another example is if you roll up and it's a theft and you go straight down there, first off, your thief usually stops their vehicle similar to a spot you would, just out of instincts, right? And another thing is you're going to mess up any tracks that they left down there. Now, I treat every situation like this like a crime scene, where I try to figure it out. There's several clues. First thing I do is I get out, I analyze the situation from right where I'm at. I'm looking for foot tracks. I'm looking for round shell casings. I'm looking down in the ditch. Is there blood? Did somebody dispatch an animal there? I'm looking for a wallered out hole where it may have pumped out the stake. I'm looking for a trap laying there with fur, and if there's no blood, maybe it just got loose, right? So that's why when you pull up, you don't just want to rush into things. You want to analyze the situation from afar and then slowly go down and check out the situation more. But it's good to be armed, and it's good to have your wits about you in a situation like this, because you could literally ruin the evidence that will help you figure out what goes on. Now, as you guys know, a lot of times in a theft, some conservation officers and DNR and whatever your state um, is for that, they're not going to help as much as we would like to think a lot of times. So it's really good to analyze these situations ourselves. Treat it like a crime scene, analyze it from afar, and then slowly proceed, and you'll figure out what happened there most of the time. I would say there's probably been one or two times out of many of these incidents over the years where I haven't figured out what happened. And usually what it was a theft where they just didn't leave any sign, where they either shot the animal with a revolver, there wasn't a lot of blood, something like that. But most of the time, you're going to figure out what happens from afar and then slowly proceed. Okay, so that is my advice today on Real Talk. This really has helped me out a lot over the years, guys. So I hope this helps you guys out. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. analyze each situation, remain calm, and you're going to figure it out 99% of the time. So thank you guys. Tight chains out there, and I'll see you on the next one.